Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere there's going to be a live or recorded version of this. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, The Art of Monty Anderson. Hopefully, you all are doing great out there, having a great, whatever fucking day this is. What is today? Tuesday? There you go. Welcome to the broadcast booth. Today's title is What a World. What a World. Not Water World, but What a World. Had a couple of technical difficulties happening on the other recording section over there that goes out to my other channels. But we've got that cleared up and figured out, and we're back in business. So what are y'all up to? What is going on out in your world right now? Waiting for some of our regulars to show up. Hopefully you all are doing great. I know some of them probably are like, it's not happening, so I ain't showing up. Oh, man. What a world, what a world, what a world. Lots going on. Lots getting completed. Lots moving, lots shaking, all kinds of cool stuff happening. Again, hopefully you all are doing great out there. Last episode, you got to see down on the farm. And you got to see the animals, you got to see what we do. Basically, in a portion of our day, what takes up quite a bit of our time, which is the animals themselves. Let me move that out of the way, just a hair right there. There we go. And you got to see some of the baby chicks. You got to see, some of all of our animals that we've got. The pigs, because that's how we started the video with the screaming Mimis. The two pigs, Bacon Bit and Bruiser. Bruiser was a rescue pig, and we couldn't let him stay in the conditions that he was living in. He was living in basically a 12 by 12 kennel, and the grandson of the people that owned him basically abused him. He would pick him up, he would throw him, he would hit him, all kinds of stuff. So it took a while for him to not shy away from people, and he still has his moments where he will shy away from people. Good morning, Casey. Welcome to the show. Sorry that I'm coming on a little bit later than normal. But Bruiser, he was, again, a rescue pig, and he was being abused, so we couldn't leave him in the conditions that he was in. So we brought him home, and we have a rescue goose that's out there that you guys potentially saw. He was the one that was limping around. I think he's got an ACL issue, if you will, a ligament issue. That's why he limps around. Another friend of mine called me up and said, hey, we got this goose hanging around our house. It's been here a couple days, and it won't leave. We were like, all right, we'll be right there. So we go over there, capture said goose. We already had 2 geese here at the house. So we captured this one, brought it home, and put it in with our flock, and it mixed with them semi-well. It's a little bit more of a delicate situation. It doesn't trust people too much. It's the one that gives the geese a bad name. The one that will pinch you, the one that will, he doesn't run at you and chase you like you've seen happen in videos and things like that. But if you're not looking and not paying attention, it will pinch you, in the legs and on the feet, on the ankles, things like that, with its beak, with its bill. And so that one you do have to watch periodically. It's not like we're scared of it because it's a goose. Come on, one punt and the goose is gone. Not like in a negative way, but just like you push it away with your foot, it's done. He's done doing what he's trying to do. Now he will come back a couple other times, but you just brush him off and he'll go on. Then you've got all the chickens that you saw. You saw the ducks. One duck thinks it's a chicken because it was hatched by a chicken and raised with a flock of smaller chickens, so it kind of hangs with its own little flock. And that's the thing. Chickens, whenever they grow up with other chickens, that becomes their clique, if you will. Just like in school. You've got your cliques of people. You've got your goth people over here. You've got your preppy and popular people over here. You got your athletes over here, your jocks. You got your nerds. You got your so on and so forth. It's basically the same way in the bird world. If it grows up in a section, that's where it stays. That's the group it sticks with. You can introduce new ones to it, and you can put them all in the same coop, but whenever you let them out to free range, they all go their own separate little ways. Like all my littles, they'll stick together. The littlest ones that you saw. The ones that we were holding called Pingy and all that good stuff. And the little white one that I was carrying around. They all stick together. Now our other flock that's been together for a lot longer, our Easter eggers and everything else. What up, man? What up? Jorge. And they all stick together. Now they'll all intermingle with each other. But when it comes to moving around the yard and things like that, you have your specific ones that stick together. All the ducks stick together except for the one that thinks it's a chicken. The geese stick together, including the new babies that we've got, the 2 baby geese. And we don't math debate anything here. And so all the animals do their own little thing. And that takes up a lot of your time. Once you let them free range out of the coop and stuff like that, it's pretty easy after that. Then you go about your other chores, cleaning up the yard more, cleaning their coop, which we just did. I don't think we put down any new papers like we should have last night, but we didn't. I don't think she put down any new papers. She cleaned the coop yesterday. I was working on the roof to the back porch. Got it completed. Now I've got to cut off the end edge, the overhang edge, and then I've got to seal in some small holes that are in the tin. But luckily it's a thicker tin, so it makes it easier to work with. So it should be pretty easy to fill the holes. Unlike the other stuff that I've already got on my roof line of my garage and shop area now, which is a thinner material, and it just leaks like a sieve. So it's a horrible time for that. But that gave you a good look of what we do in a day, from feeding the pigs right around that 7 o'clock time frame, then letting the birds out to free range and making sure they've got clean pools to swim in, making sure that they've got food to munch on throughout the day, which is basically what you call scratch. You spread that out through the yard and they find it, as well as the bugs and everything else that they dig up. And so it's a full-time chore. That's why a disabled veteran don't work. This is my full-time job besides doing this stuff right here, which is in the inking process for this massive God of War piece that I'm working on right here. Adding in details and things like that weren't there before. As well as working on this logo here for Sour Worlds. right there, as well as working on this book cover, part 1, right here, as well as working on the same book cover, just a different variant of it, right here. And then working on a blank cover. Patrick, I haven't forgot you. I'm getting ready to actually start putting pencils down on this here pretty soon. As well as this one is complete and ready to go. Right there. ChatGPT style. They didn't want the AI generated version. They wanted a live human drawn version of the ChatGPT stuff that's going on out there. So I did my research, found the stuff, and made it happen. And then the Chisholm painting that's back there, as well as several other paintings I have in the works. Not to mention everything else that I'm doing in the background that you guys don't see. The bane of my existence right now. Still haven't got another payment in. Still haven't even got half payment in on this one yet. It's kind of pissing me off, and I'm ready to tell him to take his money and shove it and sell it to somebody else. Then our horror series, our new horror series, the Blood Swoop edition. I'm going to have to clean that lens. This is, of course, Ghostface. They're all going to have this new blood swoop in them right here. That'll look cool. Which I already did for Jason Voorhees. And I can't show you that one. I'm going to have to print out a picture of that one. That was number 1. This is number 2. Freddy Krueger. Hello out there, Elizabeth. I think that was Elizabeth. I could be wrong. But again, the blood swoop going down here. And the third one in that one was Jason Voorhees, which already sold and is already at its forever home. Then you got Pumpkinhead. Again, the blood swoop going through here. Right there. And then the last of this one so far is Candyman, who's going to have honeybees and blood going through here, coming out of his mouth. Because as we know, if you're a Candyman fan, Clive Barker, that's how he was taken out from the mob that hunted him down. All right, then from the logo that I'm working on, these are 2 of the characters from the book, from the novel. This is called The Knot. Think Man-Thing, Swamp-Thing, Lord of the Rings with the living trees and things like that. He's got smoke coming out of his body. He is a tree creature, so it's going to have wood look to him. All that good stuff, which you don't see right this second, but you will. And then right here, you've got Harrow, another character from the book that's in volume 2 of the book, chapter 2 or whatever it is that he's got for Sour Worlds. He's got metal wings. He's got razor wire coming out of his arms and things like that. And then on the more popular side, you've got things like the Batman Who Laughs. Putting in more detail to the background with the chains and things of that nature. And then the Harley Who Laughs, which I didn't even know existed until this year. This is one variant of her where the spikes actually come out of her skin. And then she's got a full metal mask with the diamonds from the playing cards where the eyes are of the mask. Of course, all the chains and the gothic elements, if you will. To this version, where she's got a blade mask, and the spikes are actually in her pom-poms of her gesture hat right here and right here, and a couple other places on her, but it's not coming out of her skin like the other one shows. So they've got variants of that as well. And then to me as Wolverine. Boom, boom, boom. Based off the Wolverine #1 cover from back in 1983, I think it was. I used the same shirt and the same pants and the same moon and clouds going over the moon that you saw on the cover itself. But this is me posing as Wolverine right there. So there you go. Those are the stuff that are behind the scenes, plus tons of paintings that are in the works back here. And those goody good things. Getting ready for the fall planting of harvest time. The peppers are doing great. We did a walk through the garden as well, showed you what was going to be happening, things of that nature. And Mr. Casey here sent me a comprehensive list of what would be good for you, son of a dog biscuit. What would be good for, well, dadgummit. I'll just keep it going anyway. Casey, talk to him for a minute. I gotta go take care of something. I hear some animals moving around. I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that, folks. The pigs needed to go outside. Hopefully Casey gave you some interesting facts. And especially for winter, it looks like he was telling you how to cover your plants. Water soil when watering, not the plant. There you go. Watering early in the cool of morning or evening, never in the sun. There you go. Those are some good tips for you if you are a gardener. The pigs needed to go out. They are technically outdoor pigs now, but since it's been so hot here in Arkansas, that we've been letting them in on their little pallets in the bedroom to sleep. So, yeah, it was a 107 heat index yesterday. So even though they say it's 96 degrees with a heat index of 107, no, it's 107, motherfucker. Don't try to sugarcoat it. You know, if it's 107 heat index, it's 107. It's not 96 degrees, you know. And so we're going to be creeping into some hot temperatures. Yes, I was out working in it yesterday, and I will be out working in it again today. Because why? That's what I do. I'm a glutton for punishment, if you will. Going to be going and getting some more feed today, actually, and feed for us too. Speaking of which, we have a half-off sale going on for artwork. David, I haven't forgot about your piece there. There's been a holdup. I don't know what the holdup is with the company, but I'm about ready to just go get the shirt and be like, screw you guys, and get me another company, because they still haven't even started it yet. So I am not pleased with the what up, Tammy? Welcome to the broadcast. You heading to work? I hope not, but I know you are probably. If you haven't followed Tammy yet, XOXO, go check her out with her content. She's a fun young lady out there. She does a lot of good videos, fun videos with a lot of great music. And she's just a good person all the way around. And so, yeah, David, I'm not happy with the company that's handling the shirt right now. I'm a little bit pissed off, actually. And I apologize to you, because I know you're waiting for your favorite shirt to get back in your hands. And I am actually kind of livid with this company. So, and it just shows me that I will never use this company ever again. So, and probably today, no, it's not okay. It's that, trust me, it's not okay. You sent me this shirt a long time ago. It's been in this company's hands for a little bit, and it's not okay. It should have been already done in here. So, I am 100% not happy. Me personally. And them as a company should be ashamed of themselves. I'm not going to out who they are. But they're a local company and they will never be used again. Let's just put it that way. Let's see here. Who are we missing here as of right now? And there we go. We'll see if we'll get them in here. Don't forget to like, share, and follow as you get here. And have some fun with us, because that's what we try to do here. We try to have some fun. There's too much negativity in the world. What a world. And it also comes off of, is it? Yes, it is. Spaceballs. Whenever, is it yogurt that is the disappearing into the nether regions of the universe when he's spinning or whatever he's doing? What a world, what a world, what a world. As he's melting down, kind of like the witch in The Wizard of Oz. I think it's Spaceballs. I could be wrong, but I want to say that it is. And it's kind of cool that 27 plus years later, they're doing Spaceballs too. John Candy's son is taking over the role of Barf, the dog human hybrid. And then of course Mel Brooks is coming back as his role, and then Rick Moranis coming out of retirement just to do this movie. So, but and I have respect for Rick Moranis for what he did. He could have continued working in Hollywood, doing movies and things like that, but he sidelined his career to be with his children after his divorce. Instead of doing what, like, let's take Angelina Jolie, for example. They got a divorce, but yet she continues to work in Hollywood and has nannies and everything else taking care of her children. You know, the adopted children that her and Brad Pitt had. Well, Rick Moranis decided to step away from his acting job, his acting career, and disappear from Hollywood altogether to take care of his kids. So that's respect right there. Um, because he had the world on a string. I mean, all the movies he did, you know, great movies. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Spaceballs. I mean, the list goes on and on of the Ghostbusters. You know, the things that he was in and doing, and then just to take a step back from all of that to take care of family first. You know, it was either a divorce or his wife passed on. I can't remember which one it was. But respect to him, 100%. And then to come out of retirement, you know, 30 years later, you know, and reprise your role as the Dark Helmet, um, and that's your first gig coming back after that hiatus. That respect all the way around. Just a good dude. Now I don't know what he's like on the personal daily level or anything like that because again he disappeared from the spotlight, and but still respect to him for doing what he did because he could have had somebody babysitting his kids, you know, watching his kids while he was off on a movie shoot, you know, shooting a movie somewhere. But he chose to be a parent first. And you don't see that in Hollywood most of the time. Yeah, you get to see it when they're on vacation or not shooting a movie or things like that. But he chose to step away from Hollywood and be with family first. So, but if you are new here, let us know where you're from, what you're doing up this early. Number one, here it is 5:30 a.m. in the morning. I was awake at 1 o'clock this morning, and then ended up falling back asleep about 2:30 ish, and then here we are. Um, Supposed to be on at 4:12 in the morning, but we showed up about 5 o'clock, so roughly almost 5:30 or almost 5 o'clock this morning, but it's 5:31 here in the morning. So, but welcome to the show, everybody. Again, I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson right here. We are at 10.7 thousand likes. I appreciate you guys for the likes out there. That does put us in the popular live categories. And if you don't like our content, let me just tell you this. I have this to give to you. Bum, bum, bum. Right there. If you don't like the content, there's other content channels out there. Probably something you're looking for is out there. Like if I were to scroll right now, there would be about 90% scantily clad females out there for you to be watching, if that's what you're into. But here we are. All right, what a world, man. So much stuff is going on out there, and what are the two things we don't talk about, Casey? Casey's always up on this popular belief of what happens here, you know, what we don't talk about. Well, I appreciate that. Trash Panda, I appreciate that 100%. And the Pope or Trump, we don't talk about religion or politics here. There are plenty of channels for that. And from what I understand, if you do talk about politics or religion, you have to come with facts from now on. In September, the rules are changing for a lot of things here on TikTok for us creator types that do a live show or even post videos on Instagram or TikTok. Um, Apparently, you're going to start getting a lot more violations for certain things. And like if you are talking politics, religion, slandering someone, or anything like that, and you do not have 100% facts proof, you're going to start getting violations to the point where your channel could no longer exist on TikTok. And that goes with many other things. If you're slandering another creator or whatever, you better have your facts with that in hand. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of other things, but there's that assume. You know what that does? It makes an ass out of you and me. That the violations that they're getting ready to impose is a long list. Casey's the one that brought me into the fold on that. I didn't even know there was going to be some rule changes happening in September until he sent me that video from another creator talking about it. And she was talking about several different aspects at the same time. And I need to go find the rules of what's happening in September. I mean, I found a little bit of them, but it doesn't go into comprehension of what she was talking about on certain things like the animal videos and things like that. So I've got to go do some more research myself on what all the true rule changes and policy changes are going to be. Because they're talking about if you're doing, I don't even know if I can say it here, but she did. So why not? The like for like section, the share for share section, any of that stuff, there's going to be a violation on that for some reason. I don't understand why. There's also going to be a violation if you're begging people for money. There's going to be violations for staging animal videos. There's going to be no more harmful or hurtful content allowed on here, meaning that if you are doing wild and crazy stunts that could potentially injure you or someone else, then that's going to be a no-no on TikTok from now on. It's just like the whole, whenever people started doing all these trends here on TikTok, and everybody would follow suit. Oh, I can do it better. Oh, I'm much more agile than this person to walk on milk crates. And then people get hurt and all this stuff, and because milk crates aren't meant to be walked on. Now, if they're full of milk, potentially, but just by themselves, not very stable 100% at all. And then the whole Tide Pod thing that people did, and then it sent people to the hospital, because you're an idiot if you think you can eat a Tide Pod and be okay. What a world. What a world. There's certain things that don't even need to be said. Yeah, absolutely. And just like the Tide Pods too, there's been the passing on of many people with some of these challenges that have happened here on TikTok. Oh, we have a new TikTok challenge. Sweet, let's go do it. Ha ha ha. Just to become TikTok's famous for a hot minute. Just like my 5 minutes of fame in Afghanistan when I got my picture taken while I was guarding a embassy convoy that had been hit with a VBED, a vehicle-borne explosive. I didn't know my picture was taken until our first sergeant called us up, and said, "Hey, I'm looking at him on Yahoo News right now." I was the face of that explosion. Did I want to be? Absolutely not. But there I was, for the world to see, guarding a incident that happened in Afghanistan. Why do individuals want to be famous so bad? I'm not here for fame or stardom. I'm here to push my artwork and talk about cool stuff. That's why we talk about horror movies, sci-fi movies. Well, I appreciate that, and you're welcome. Some days I wonder for myself. But no, I did it because I wanted to follow in my grandfather's footsteps and to keep his legacy alive in the 45th Infantry. And so that's why I did what I did. And, again, I should have went out of high school, but I was 33 when I joined the military. I was already the old guy, you know. Had a family, had kids. And that's not the time you really want to start. And now I've got another friend and her husband. Her husband just joined the military, and so they're getting ready to move off and do things cool. I guess he's in the active army, because she was talking about their first duty station. So they're selling off everything that they've got here in Arkansas and getting ready to move off and enjoy some life, as much as you can, being a military personnel, moving from base to base every 3 to 4 years, just like my nephew, who's active Air Force. And yeah, I should have done it out of high school, without a family, all that good stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I always think the older service members that I see, and I always tell them, thanks for paving the way for me to be in and do what I did, because there's not many of those old codgers left now, especially what is it, World War II veterans are just about done. I think there's only a handful of those left. That's male or female. And so, um, I know you get people that won't think a veteran, period, because they don't like military. Absolutely, that it's atrocious. It's like people coming back from Korea, how they were getting spit on and called names and all the protests that were happening over that. These men and women still served. They still deserve respect. They didn't go over there just to do what they did. They were fighting a war. Yeah, there were some atrocities that happened over there. Yeah, there was things that shouldn't have happened over there that you see in the movies and stuff like that, which is based off of true events. But they still didn't deserve what happened when they got back. And you still get a little bit of that today with service members that come back from different deployments. You get the non-trust. You get, oh, well, you did this while you were over there. We know you did. And there's just a stigmatism with military members in general. Which, if you were to go to one of our reunions or just be with us at any point in time, you would see how unfair those bias are towards service members. We're just people. We put on a uniform. We served our country. We fought for our country. That you, as a society, what a world, takes for granted. Because to you, you wake up, eat your breakfast, go about your day, be at work or being on disability or, whatever it is. You might work, you might not work, you might work for yourself, whatever it is. You don't know the sacrifice that someone right now is making by being in the military service. If Liz was here, she could tell you relationships suck in the military most of the time, unless you've got a strong foundation with the person that you're with. And hopefully we're always free because of us guys. Now, heaven forbid, we do get invaded like in Red Dawn, because today's per capita weapons per household is a little scary. Ad break. V8 energy drink. Peach mango is the best flavor that they've got. All the rest of them taste like shit. V8 Energy, you need to be my sponsor and send me peach mango on a regular basis. This is the, what is it, I can't even read this, 8 fluid ounce can. They do make a 20 ounce can. That is a very popular at the front end of the convenience section of Walmart now, where it's like a little convenience store, grab and go. And so V8 peach mango, V8 Energy, send me your peach mango on a regular basis, and I will talk about you forever, because this is the best flavor you've got. The balance between the flavors is smooth, unlike the other flavors that you sell that taste like chemical shit. This does not. There you go. That is your ad break for V8 Energy Drink Peach Mango. Refreshing. All right, there you go. But again, there is a big disdain and a big distrust for any military personnel. And like I said, if Liz was here, she could tell you firsthand. And like I said, relationships in the military suck unless you do have a huge grounding with the person that you're with. Because there is a stigmatism there. Oh, well, they're on deployment all the time, or they're going from spot to spot. Well, they've got a woman in every harbor, and that used to be true. Luke, what's up, man? We're doing good here, talking about all kinds of life stuff. We also talk about horror movies. We talk about sci-fi movies. We talk about comic books. We talk about comic book artwork. We talk about my artwork and my comic book artwork and things like that. And right now we're talking about the military service that I was in, as well as many other people out there in the world. I did see a few of the popular hot movies. Yes, that is a painting back there, as well as my Ozzy Osbourne down here. Yes, that is a painting. It is up for grabs if you are interested, just like the Ozzy down here. This is actually the print of my original right there on the Ozzy Osbourne piece. And I do have two different Ozzy Osbourne pieces. Only one. I've got two prints of this one right here, plus the original. And then right there we've got the Joker. And that was the second Joker that I painted. The first Joker sold just like that. And unfortunately, this one is still hanging on with me right now. But yes, that's what we do here. We do artwork on a regular basis, just like me as Wolverine right there. Boom, boom, boom. This one's all nice and inked in from the pencils. And then if you are into, the DC side of things, Luke, you got the Batman Who Laughs right there. Dun, dun, dun. Again, I posed for this. This is me under all that garb right there. But that's what we do here. That's the stuff that we work on here. Commissions on all that sincere stuff like that. As many people have. And that's what we were talking about. You get the bad rap with the military personnel. And like I said, if you spend a day with us, especially if you go to one of our reunions and stuff like that, you'll see we're just normal people. We don't have any ill will towards people out there. And we know that there's people that like us, and we know there's people that love us. I served, like I said, I should have done it out of high school, but I was 33 when I joined, keeping my grandfather's legacy alive in the 45th Infantry, and did my technically 8 years, and it was fun. I liked it. But I was going in to the military about the time people are retiring from the military, if you get my drift. So had I done it out of high school, I probably, had I lived through deployments, would have retired from it. Absolutely. So, speaking of some movies, let's talk about those for a second. So there's some hot horror movies out there that people love. Obsession. Good twist on a movie, but I can't rate it as a horror movie. I'm sorry, I just can't. If you don't know what Obsession is, it's about a guy who's deeply in love with a girl that he works with, but she basically views him in the friend zone only. So he makes a wish that she is completely in love with him only, basically obsessed with him. Well, the wish comes true, and the rest is history. Very different movie, if you will. It's good. It's worth the watch. But if you didn't like Smile, you're not going to like this movie. Smile 1 or 2, if you didn't like those movies, you're not going to like this movie. If you didn't like It Follows, basically based off of a STD, you're not going to like this movie. Backrooms, I need to watch. I watched the new Mummy. Leo whatever's Mummy. Again, worth the watch. But the scare factors that he put in there, since he did the Evil Dead reboot, he's one of the directors thereof, it's played out. It was a good movie. It was a different take on the Mummy aspect of things. But when it boils down to it, to me, I know a lot of people are putting it in their top 5, top 10 of their new movies to watch. It'd be the lower 10, 15 for me. Just like Obsession, it comes in at a solid 9, potentially. I get that. The Evil Dead new franchise reboots. You got Evil Dead Rise, you got Evil Dead Rise, and now you got Evil Dead Burn, which is out now at theaters, which we were supposed to go see, but we didn't get a chance to go see it yet, which is okay. I hate going into movies right off the bat, crowded theaters and stuff like that. Give me a matinee when there's only like 5 people in the theater. I'm good with that. I'm not a people person, if you get my drift. Large crowds, I don't do much anymore. Just because people are just rude nowadays. But the Evil Dead franchise is one that's never going to end, and which is okay. The Evil Dead Rise, and now the Evil Dead Burn, been pretty good so far. I liked the aspect that they brought to it, the change to it that they did, especially coming from the Bruce Campbell side of Evil Dead. And now I'm finding out there was not a new one, but there was a prequel to the Evil Dead, and I've got it saved somewhere, and I'm gonna have to go find it. But I can't remember what its name is. It's just like with the whole trilogy of, oh, well, welcome to the show, Roy. 50 minutes in. Wow. Um, like with the whole Terrifier series going on, you've got, the Ninth Gate, and then you've got all the other ones in there. And then two of those don't even star Thornton, who's the new face of Art the Clown. So I've got to go watch that one, the prequel to Evil Dead. So yeah. That's what happens when you're on the toilet after your Taco Bell. I get it. Anybody get that issue with the Taco Bell? Other than Roy here, blowing up his toilet right now. Probably watching this from the toilet, aren't you? You sicko. You nasty motherfucker. Don't get that on the phone, though. All right. Nah, Roy's a good dude. Good dude. Good heart out there. Welcome to the show, everybody. Again, we're talking about all kinds of things. We're talking about the new Obsession movie. We're talking about the new Mummy movie, which we've seen those, and to me, they're just okay. They tried to do a bunch of jump scares in several of them. They tried to do, I mean, they're both different, if you will. A different take and a different look on those. But they just tried too hard. If that makes any sense when it comes to them. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. They are on social, or they're on the streaming platforms right now. And to me, they tried too hard. Because, like with Obsession, it's done by the same person that did Evil Dead Rise. And with that, you can tell there's a lot of aspects that are the same. A lot of the horror elements transition between both movies, even though they're not in the same franchise. Like glowing eyes. A lot of glowing eyes in this. The facial expressions that are happening in Obsession with the female character that is wished into, loving the one guy, the main star. You see a lot of the facial expressions that you saw in Evil Dead Rise transition over here to Obsession. But again, if you didn't like Smile 1 or 2, if you didn't like It Follows, you're probably not going to like Obsession. Because again, it is a complete different style of movie. And it's worth the watch 100%, absolutely, so that you can get your own opinion on the movie. But I'm just going to tell you now, if you didn't like Smile 1 and 2 or It Follows, you're not going to like this movie. And then with the Leo, whatever his name is, the Mummy movie, it's a good take on the Mummy lore, because it brings in a new aspect, if you will. And it doesn't involve, something from 300 BC or, 300 AD or, whatever. Where you've got your typical mummy coming to life that you saw made famous with, Boris Karloff. Absolutely. And technically both of them are more action adventure drama filled than they are horror, when it comes down to it. Because yes, The Mummy is a horror film. Yes, Obsession is a horror film. But they both could be labeled thriller more than horror, if you will. Yes, there's a lot of horror in the Mummy. Let's just throw that out there. It is a horror movie for a reason. Obsession, not so much. There's horror esque in Obsession, but thriller at best. And there's a lot of movies that they dub as horror movies nowadays that should just be thrillers. Um, because they don't quite reach that true horror threshold. And your horror threshold doesn't have to be all the blood, guts, gore, and more. There's true horror movies that didn't even have all of that in there. There's horror movies that you never even saw a drop of blood that were better horror movies than some of the stuff they're putting out today. And then with all the technology and prosthetics and stuff of today, the advancements that we've got, why don't we have better creature features than something that came out in 1932, 1940, 1950, 1960, 1970, even 1980 and early 1990s? Today you see some of the creatures that are made and it's just like, what the fuck is that? Did you throw some oatmeal on the character and call it good? I just don't understand some of the creature features of today that look like they fell off the turnip truck, you know. Um, Even with the new Toxic Avenger starring Peter Dinklage as Toxie, as the Toxic Avenger. Yes, it's based off the Trauma, stuff like that. And if you don't know what the Trauma trope is, go check it out. There's a lot of cool ones out there. Tromeo and Juliet is a fan favorite. Huge, great one. I mean, it's an awesome film. If you haven't seen Tromeo and Juliet, go check it out. It is based off of Romeo and Juliet with a twist. Um, but if you've never seen any of that stuff like Class of Nukem High or um, Toxic Avenger or any of those tropes out there for that, go check them out. They're worth the watch. They're fun movies, and they still had better effects than what we see in some of the top budget movies that you have out there today. That's the crazy thing, is that, you know, if you actually were to pit some of these towards some of the new stuff today, they would win. And that whole Trauma section of things is ridiculousness in and of itself. And if you've never seen any of them, go check them out. Even like I said, the new Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage is good, and it does give you a different twist on things than even the original Toxic Avenger. But most of the time, yes, yes. Um, Mikey says about the action movies. If you can read, I'm sure. But yes, there's a lot of that going on, and you know, more power to everybody that wants to do it. Ricky, what do you got? What's your question? Do you need my autograph? Of course. $49.99 gets you my autograph. But there's a ton of movies in that Trauma trope that are worth the watch. And if you've never seen them again, Well, we all saw Jurassic World, so, and Jurassic Park. Never a good idea to bring something that big back from the past. You know, I know that they're trying to do it with dire wolves. They're trying to do it with woolly mammoths and things like that. But, in my opinion, let the past be the past. My opinion. The saber-toothed tiger, I mean, that's a huge bird. That's a huge cat. Um, Hold on, I'm multitasking here. Um, and to bring back stuff like that, there's a reason why it went extinct. And if you're trying to bring it back, the dire wolves and things like that. And yeah, I get what you're saying, that it could help weed out populations of certain things, but then once those are weeded out, it goes to the next food chain. And what's the next food chain after that? Big game animals such as wild boar, which we're trying to eradicate anyway. Then you've got your deer, elk, buffalo, bear, so on and so forth. And then once all those are gone, where do they go next? To the grocery store to get their meat? They come to your house. They come to your house. Well, New Jersey needs to let them hunt a little more. It sounds like they need to open their season a little earlier and let it go a little later than just, what is it, September through November. Yeah, no, I get that. And that's the bad thing about certain states, is that there is way too much population of humanity, and that's why you have the indigenous creatures intruding in on people's properties and houses, because we're taking away the natural environment that they live in and turning it into housing and development. We're seeing it here more and more in Arkansas as well. We still have tons of natural habitat for them to live in, but we're starting to see the animals that you normally don't see show up in your backyard, like your wolves or your coyotes, and your, not so much wolves here, but coyotes and foxes, and of course deer. I live in the country S setting, so I'm not too worried about intrusion of humanity, because right across the street is a cattle field. Behind me is OG&E property, and it's a wooded field back there with a pond and all this other stuff. So that's natural habitat for wildlife. But so much anymore, people want to eradicate the natural habitat areas of wildlife, that where does the wildlife have to go? Oh, in your yard, in your face. Now we're in Arkansas here. So we've got bear, we've got black bear, we've got mountain lions, we've got bobcats, we've got um, black panthers, which people say we don't, but we do. We've got coyotes. We've got some wolves here. Just depends on where you are in Arkansas. We've got Thanks for the gifts out there. Don't forget to like, share, and follow as you get here. We have, what all do we have? We've got elk, we've got deer. We don't have moose, except at the zoos. Um, all kinds of wildlife here. But as we cut down more and more trees to develop for people, what do you think is going to happen? Just like in New Jersey, you've got a great school there, Kubert School of Art and Design, right there. Great comic book school. The animals have no choice but to coexist with humanity. And unfortunately, like you said, New Jersey, very highly populated area with residential spots, you can't hunt very well up there. Now, what they could do is trap and relocate all those deer and wildlife, since they are wanting to fill up every livable spot with humanity, which is just human nature. Seek, destroy, conquest, and conquer. I like this piece of property. Who owns it? I do now. Okay, now I'm going to chop it all down for development. More people, more people. That's why you have some overpopulated states in the U.S. Maybe floating cities should be next. But then, of course, the oceans would be more polluted than they are now with trash, because people can't seem to pick up their own shit on a regular basis. Oh, it's just a plastic bottle cap. Oh, it's just a piece of plastic. Oh, it's a cigarette butt. Oh, it's just. Whenever I'm out on the hiking trail, I'm picking up people's trash. Whenever I'm out on the water, I'll pick up trash. And it's just sad that people expect nature to take back plastic. It's just sad. What a world. What a world. But back to the Troma trope movies. You've got, like I said, Romeo and Juliet was 1996. Very good one to watch if you haven't seen it yet. And then you got Street Trash from 87. You've got Frankenhooker, another great classic. You've got Hobo with a Shotgun from 2011 in that same trope. And then you got the superhero alternatives, which is Dread 2012, Psycho Gorman, which was 2020, another in that line. But then you've got your classics, the Toxic Avenger, of course. You got Sergeant Kabuki Man, new NYPD 1990, and Terror Firmer 1999. So a lot of great stuff. What is the word trope meaning? It is, hold on, let me see here. Troma, Troma. Troma is a low budget independent movie production or distributed by Troma Entertainment. So that's basically who created it. The shock value and gore is what it's going for. Social satire, punk rock ethnos there, and Tromaville. Um, fictional, heavy polluted, and crime-ridden towns is basically what it's basically meaning for all of this. Troma is considered the longest running independent film studio in the world. Aside from their own wild productions, they are famous for discovering and launching the careers of major Hollywood names, including James Gunn, Trey Parker, and Matt Stone, South Park. And directors like Eli Roth and Peter Jackson, who all got their start or early distribution through the studio. So Troma is a studio company that creates a lot of, like I said, shock value and gore movies, social satire, like it says, behind the sleaze and splatter, many Troma movies act as bizarre satires of American culture, corporate greed, and environmental issues. So there is an agenda with these movies to show you what is going on in the world at the same time. And so that's where Toxic Avenger came from, was whenever we heard about all of the dumping of the toxic sludge into rivers and streams and things like that, is basically how the Toxic Avenger came about. And if you look at any of their stuff, it has something to do with nuclear waste or things of that nature. So they are intentionally shocking, gory, irreverent, and campy is the acting, with slapstick comedy, B-rated movies at best, with a blend of horror and sci-fi, a farce and slapstick comedy. But they do have some live action cartoons, basically, is what they call it, for mature audiences only, in retrospect. And so, but if you haven't checked them out, go check out some Troma films, Troma films, and give them a look-see, see if you like any of them. Especially, like I said, Tromeo and Juliet, Poultrygeist is another one. Night of the Chicken Dead. That's a funny one. It's a musical comedy horror about zombified, possessed fast food chicken. So check that one out. And then, of course, the all-time classic, The Toxic Avenger. If you haven't seen these in their original versions, go check them out. They are fun. But again, they are over the top with slapstick comedy. They are over the top with sleaziness. So if you're not into any of that stuff, just forget about watching any of these Troma movies, the Troma film collections. So there you go. All right, folks, we're going to kill it for today. That is it for us. Much appreciated to all of the banter back and forth. We are at 29.9 thousand likes. Several gifts have come in, which is awesome. We appreciate that. If you are new here, do go ahead and give us a follow and check that bell button up there in the profile, and that will let you know when I post and when we go live as well. But much appreciated to everybody for being here. You guys are great as usual. And as I like to say as I leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.